get to speak. I say don't get to, not don't want to. Because I find that sometimes they just find it, they don't think Nigeria and the culture has made for men to be silent. Let's talk. What is toxic masculinity? What is it?
Okay, so you already preempted what toxic masculinity is. So there are like societal premises that says that men don't cry, men don't show emotions, men don't you have to show power. You must, exude power. And then some of those things are harmful. That's why they are toxic. There are three major areas that focuses on toughness and strength. That's where you find men don't cry. Men, you have to toughen up. You must
Be a man.
Man up and all of that. But the person is broken inside, and you're telling him to man up. Then you anti-femininity. So not that, it's just that, they say that there are certain roles for men and women. Certain roles for, so culture says that, the guy is supposed to sit down, is the girl that is supposed to, your girl child is the one that is supposed to go into the kitchen, is supposed to be the one to do the cleaning, while the guy is just not, being prepared of how to manage the home environment, to be able to take care of other things.
Even himself.
Even himself. So those are things. And then, the sexual entitlement and
don't get me started.
They believe that men can have multiple partners, they can and all of that, and you feel that the woman can't do that. So those are some of the things culture has shaped, or shaping the way the man thinks, which also for someone talking about not being able to express your emotions, and then the guy is going through a lot. He doesn't know how to express himself. He can't talk because the culture says he just has to not cry, not talk, not but the thing is, emotions, just like you have a cut that you see blood, your emotions, if they are battered, bruised, and going through a lot, it's like a cut, but it's inside. So it's more like you're having internal bleeding. And then there is no.
I love it, internal bleeding. I love the idea.
So with your emotions, so you are not able to. So that is where the toxic label is coming from, to say that when all of these things are happening, and then the man is not able to express himself, it can then begin to affect his mental health.
So I dealt with a story yesterday on Family Matters, where she said the woman, basically they seem to be growing apart, and the man is now focusing on the children. And I wondered for a minute. She said even when they're sitting together, he doesn't say a word. Now, how does it all? If you married a man that was clearly badly trained, to believe this culture of masculinity, toxic masculinity, where do you start to help him, would I say heal and become a better person and start to speak up? Because I feel like a lot of women didn't know upon marrying the man, and now they're stuck with a man that doesn't know how to speak because he's being told there's no need. Right now also there's so many hateful, toxic masculinity podcasts that are going on, and people are soaking it in. I have a friend who's dealing with her husband, listening to all of these conversations, what a man should be, a man should do, a man should not do, and she says, I'm watching it break my home. So how do you start to help this man see the error of his ways?
Okay, so that's there are different gates that we have going into us, your eyes, your ears, and all of that. So the thing is, when you are found yourself in that kind of situation, and then sort of you want to talk to the man, you are not able to reach him, he's not even talking. So that means that he needs help. He needs help because he himself might not even know how to help himself. Because, so it is what you're being fed in. So growing up, you see children, they learn by what they see, So it's not all of the time you say, Tunde, do that he's going to do it. He's watching you. He sees you do something else. Is what he sees you do that he's going to do. Yeah, he's not going to be based on what you are saying. So that, and imagine the number of years that that man had gone on seeing different things. He might be coming from a background where his dad also does not talk. So that's what he has seen all his growing years, and that's the only solution he knows. Just not to talk. He believes that that's a sign of strength. He believes that. So because there are firm beliefs around what he thinks that, so to shake it, to make him realize that, that's a problem. It's already affecting your marital relationship. Your wife is probably not happy. The home is not going the way it should go. So maybe you want to help him find an outlet to someone he can talk to. So which is why I said he will probably need help to get, maybe a male therapist or someone that he respects, or like a mentor that can start to help him break that, that area of his life, to say that, okay, so what are you going through? How do you think about these things and all of that? And then, because the woman is going to be involved, because she is the one that is bearing the brunt of
the situation, the reaction from what you're doing.
From what he's doing. It's the same way for men that beat their wives. A lot of them is as a result of how they grew up. They had most likely seen their dad beat their mom, and so that's the only solution they know. That okay, when there are altercations or when there are disagreements and all of that, he has not seen that you can have a conversation
with someone
and then know that, okay, with a conversation we can disagree to agree. You can have an opinion that is not exactly like mine, but I can learn to accept it and say, okay, I see where you're coming from. Okay. So we can be looking at the same thing from the different sides, and we're seeing two different things. It doesn't mean that the other person is wrong. It's just for you to be able to understand the perspective the person is looking at it from.
For a man, there are two words on my mind. Well, three words. One is toxic masculinity and one is narcissism. How do I know this is not narcissism but toxic masculinity, or the other way around?
Okay. So when you say narcissism, so that
in
word
behavior, of course.
In behavior,
yes.
So it's like, I just want to describe it that, is someone doing something deliberately, he knows that it's hurting you, but it doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He just keeps doing it. But the other side is someone that is, culturally schooled to behave in a certain way. That's the toxic masculinity. So the toxic masculinity, it has harmful consequences because it's affecting the man, is affecting maybe his wife, the people around him.
Yes.
Is affecting the society.
Isn't narcissism doing the same thing?
Yeah, but so this man that culture has shaped him, or the ideals within his home shaped him in a certain way, might not be doing that deliberately. It's just because that's what he knew growing up. But someone that determines that, okay, I'm going to show you, Pepe. I'm going to deal with you. And you know, even when the person is say, I'm sorry, you still, you know, still goes on to do it. So that's, you know, the thin line between you know. So generally, the people that are fixated on cultures, they say they are traditional.
Oh,
You know,
I just saw a story recently that
you know, that they are traditional, that you know, you can't, I can't eat the soup that was cooked that goes to 24 hours and all of that. You know, you have to come to me, you kneel down before me as
the Lord and Master.
You know, so those are cultural beliefs that, you know, growing up, maybe they've heard about. Oh, they say, oh, in our lineage we marry many wives. It's not, this one is even not about the fact that, so whether you're in a religion that allows that, it's just that in
our lineage, it's a thing.
It's a thing that it's okay to have multiple partners.
Is it fair to say that narcissism can be born out of toxic masculinity?
Yes.
Guys, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back because I have more questions. Don't go anywhere.
Super FM 92.7.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead of the curve is crucial. Are you ready to connect with the latest in business and economics? Tune in to The Business Connect, a dynamic program that delivers in-depth analysis of Nigeria's top business headlines and the global trends shaping the world economy. Each week, we bring you the latest updates on everything from financial markets and trade policies to entrepreneurship and cutting-edge innovations. Hear from industry leaders and experts as they break down the topic.
For moms raising sons, teenagers, and young adults, what advice do you have for us? Tips, recommendations, so that we don't breed toxic masculinity. And I'm going to add this, especially if the husband in question oozes of toxic masculinity. What advice do you have for that woman?
Okay, so I particularly like that question because you know, there's this thing that is around now that there is a lot of focus on the girl child.
Yes.
And then so there are a lot of people asking the questions whether passively, if I may say, that, oh, okay, so what happens to the boys?
Yes.
Because if you let the boys just be by themselves, the kind of environment or generation that we're in, they are being influenced by every other thing that would influence the girl.
Yes.
Because if you go online, if you're, it doesn't know whether you're a boy or girl. When you are, you know, watching things that can begin to destroy, maybe pornography, you know, watching all those gamified things that are, you know, that are,
they are so much on the rise now.
You know, and then you know, they're showing you how to become very violent, very aggressive, and all of that. That doesn't speak to just the guy alone. A girl can also look at it and then begin to. So I think that when we're raising our children, both the boy and the girl should be giving that opportunity to know the things that are right. Okay, so we are in the era where a teenager has an opinion.
Oh yes, everybody has an opinion now.
So we must help them to balance that opinion. So we are not in the world where you will not allow them hear their opinion, but you must balance it. They cannot go out of the way. They cannot be disrespectful.
Right.
They cannot, say things out of line. You have to begin to help them begin to see things the proper way. The way that is common might not be the right way. The one that is popular does not necessarily mean is the right way.
That's right.
So we need to begin to align. So for the question that the male child is very important, because you have to also raise him just as you're expose him to the opportunities that are available for him to also, learn the right things, know how to behave when they're outside, know how to take care of the house, know how to manage himself, know how to be responsible. Not that, okay. So if you say that, when you are in the house, is the girl child that will do the chores, you are simply saying to the boy child that is. So yes, it's supposed to be irresponsible because they live in the same house. If she is able to wash the dishes, why is he not? If he's supposed, is she supposed to go and clean his room? He's supposed to clean his room.
Okay, so I hear you talking about things like chores and all of that, and there are two things on my mind. Number one is, remember that this person has gotten to their children or child has gotten to teenagehood.
Yes.
Not just about the chores now, but about personality, growing mature men. They kind of swallow the good men, let's be honest. And so we are still dealing with that needs to be purged. The children, how do I now manage and help them to grow into better personalities beyond the chores?
So I like that part that you just introduced. So one of the things I like to talk to parents about, I've been teaching teenagers for up to 18 to 20 years.
Wow.
In my church, and so I understand that dynamics, because I've seen different age groups of teenagers. Some of them are parents, married and all now. And so they're a new set of teenagers. There's something that is very consistent with one of the things you hear. Teenagers will always tell you that they are bored.
Yes.
And that has been from...
I'm an adult and I get bored too, so...
Yeah, so they tell you they are bored. Another thing that is also important to also know is that in their teen years, with psychosocial development, they are more drawn to their peers, which is why we have peer pressure.
Yes.
So they focus more on their peers than their parents, and all of that. So that is a thing with teenagers when they're growing up. So what does that mean? For me, what that means is that what you're saying that we're suffering from our parents is that we are the ones that are supposed to go to our parents.
Right.
Not our parents coming to us.
Yes.
Now, but that's a wrong assumption. Because if you look at the 24 hours of a teenager that you have mentioned, they spend like 12 hours in school. Sleep time is like 7 hours minimum, 6-7 hours minimum. So that's already almost 20. By the time they come back from school, they are doing lessons, they're doing, this and that. So if a teenager spends about 20 hours on their own with their friends, sleep time,
Yeah.
and all of that. The remaining 2 to 3, 4 hours, they are not the ones that will come to you. You are the one that will go to them. You are the one to be in their business, to know what they're doing. You are the one to know, what are the things that you're watching? I need to be aware. You need to know. You need to be able to just, find a way. Become your daughter or sons, become their friend.
When we were growing up, they used to say, you're not your child's friend.
Yeah, so there's a place for being a parent. There's a place for being their friend. So that also helps you to get into their space. They are not going to come to you. You are the one to go to them, which is the mistake we as parents are now making.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at it from how we were brought up. Yeah, so that's speaking to that question, that then you have to, as a parent, be a bit more involved with what your teenagers are doing. Also try to get them involved in things that will teach them life lessons, life skills, not only just at home. You can, in their school, some schools do leadership program. They send them, they bring them together, they get sports. All those things are things that you have to be interested in. So there was a time one of the clinics that I used to run or work at, there was a teenager, a guy came, and then he was dealing with addiction. So and then he was brought to the clinic, and when I was reviewing with him and talking to him about what's happened and all of that, the guy was so upset, and one of the first things he said is that, I don't want my dad to throw money at everything. I don't want him to throw money at everything. If I say this, he throws money at it. I need him to speak to me. I need him to spend time with me. I don't need his money for anything. That so it's every time that there is a problem, then that's when he will get the time. Now that and it's not that he deliberately went to use a psychoactive substance. It's the influence of your friends, so peer pressure,
and it's cry for help. Cry for attention.
So when he's doing that, it's because you're not paying attention. The 2, 3, 4 hours that is left out of their normal daily schedule, the parent must be the one going to them. You don't, and then in that 2, 3, 4 hours, it's not the time to throw just gifts, throw money, they need time with you.
Yes.
And that's the way you can impact them. So toxic masculinity can also be seen from that. So that guy will see that, if there's a problem, let me just throw money at it. I don't need to talk to anybody. So as he grows up, there's a tendency that he also can
will become a toxic masculine.
And then, go that way in terms of not. So I just want to advise parents that, you need to spend time with your teenagers, particularly. They are not going to come to you. You have to go to them.
What you have said today, I'm so grateful. Someone is saying thank you for this. I'm going to add something from what you said, because you gave me the thought. You said the kids spend a lot of this time with their peers. So you might also want to keep an eye on their peers. What kind of friends are they keeping?
Yes.
When we were growing up, a lot of our parents didn't let our friends come to the house. You need to let your kids bring their friends. Don't always have your kids go to the other person's house. Let them come to your house so you can monitor, so you can see what's going on and hear their conversations and keep an eye and an ear on them. Thank you so much for this, Doc. If you are just joining us, I know time is not our friend. This is how you know it's time is over. It's over. Mr. Olumide, Dr. Olumide Okeowo, is a certified people analytics. He had certification for people analytics among others. He's a clinical psychologist, practicing clinical psychologist right now, and I'm really really excited. His intention to come back, not from the HR space. He's done a lot of stuff, and then he's come, very young these days. So I'm looking forward to having you. Maybe next week we should do that. Yes, you know what? Let's do it. Have you again talk about use and